Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dax Prathers, and I'm joined by Monica Monsoon.
I didn't know what was going to come out.
Oh, no. What were some of your thoughts?
I didn't know. I thought maybe you were going to do like a sound effect.
Oh.
Foley. We haven't done Foley in a long time.
Yeah, my beard isn't long enough. I kind of got a shorter shear right now. If you watch Bless This Mess, which I hope you do, one of my favorite characters on the program,
Yes.
Kay,
Yes.
who's played by the wonderful Lennon Parham, is here today.
Yeah.
And aside from all the things you know her from, which I'm sure you've seen her on Parks and Rec and Veep and Curb Your Enthusiasm, she had her own show called Best Friends Forever and her other own show, Playing House. But I know her mostly from Bless This Mess, and she is just my favorite person to spend the day with.
I've known her forever because she's a superstar at UCB. She's a legend and a
legendary
hero.
Improv.
Yes. And so I've been an admirer of her from afar for a long time.
But then she's an admirer of yours from afar,
Oh
and then
my
you guys
gosh.
became friends.
Look at that.
So please enjoy Lennon Parham.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
He's in the calendar I designed.
You designed a calendar.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot wait.
It's a men's
Can you guess
bodies
whose
calendar.
abdomen that is just by looking at it? Because here's the
Oh,
fun
these
part.
are just abs?
Well,
This is
different
an
body
ab
parts.
cow?
Different body part.
I haven't listened to the episode where you talked about this.
I was saying a great thing for charity for kids would be celebrities' private parts. Just their private parts in a calendar. You don't know whose is who. On the front of the calendar, you'll have all these famous faces, and then inside is their genitalia. But we don't know. You're
But
left.
it is a narrow downable thing, right? If you know that it's out of these 12 people, I think I'm going to be able to pick out whose
100.
tatés are photographed.
I think it's still guess though, because if let's say it's 12 men, and then inside is just 12 close-ups of penis and testicle.
I don't know, number one, who's going to buy that. Because women,
They don't want
women
that.
don't want
No,
a close-up of a D.
I agree. It's for
Correct.
gay males, primarily.
And
That's
you.
true, that's
and
true.
Dax.
And me and
That's
Rob
true.
McElhenney.
That is true.
Yeah. And again, it's to support and further the thriving of children.
It
It's
was
for a
supposed to
good
go
cause?
to kids'
Yes,
charities.
it's for a kids'
I
charity.
said no. That seems
Seems problematic.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, maybe it would raise a bunch of money, but then
And then we give that right to the kids who need it. You know, just hand it out.
don't
Deal.
tell them where
Shove
it came
No. So the men would buy one. There's 12 famous female faces on the front.
Yeah.
And then inside is Minora, Majora, all the parts, labia, everything we've
Are
come
we
to
talking
know.
like
breasts.
Are we
Random
talking
breasts.
just like I don't know, like an Annie Leibovitz, like from the front, like an artistic version, or is it like
No.
it's full spread, bent over doggy anus style?
Yeah.
Like, what is it?
It's
What are
more
we
like
talking
an
about?
iPhone photo.
Doggy
Like a
anus
portrait
style.
mode of
Correct.
No, the calendar is called Doggy Anus Style for Children. That is the name of the calendar. The much bigger point
sure,
is
sure.
it's so narrowly focused on the genitalia that everyone's safe that's on the cover.
No face.
There's a high probability of deniability. There's a level of anonymity. It's only a 1 in 12.
Except it's got to be all white women. You know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
gonna way
Or all
narrow it
black.
down if you have people of color.
Or all
Or we
black.
could do a half
True,
and half,
true.
which would be best.
Now, that's an even better layer is that we have different ethnicities. So we're also dividing up ethnicities in the calendar,
No,
which will
that's
be embraced.
even worse. That's way worse. Oh my God. That there's
People
now
Black and white? Black and white? Well, I don't
I
think
think you
that's
can
gonna sepia
still-
tone. You'd still be able to tell.
sepia.
What if it's to me, it's like if it's a page a day calendar, it's 365.
Oh, page a day.
Then
Okay.
Go
just
on.
so many more people to choose from. Then I really am not sure at any day who's what.
That's
That's
true.
right.
We don't have to include the faces on the front. It can just be like the calendar I made based off of this. There's no faces on the front. It's just body parts, so you don't know. But
But I
Dax
knew.
did guess all of them,
He did.
except
in,
like
in
two.
one of them, let me show
It's
you
all
one
men?
of them. Hold on.
All
Yeah,
men.
of course. I'm not a pervert.
This is great.
I want to show you one that I get. I'm so proud of guessing just a specific one.
Oh man.
Here we go. This was one of them.
Oh,
Isn't that great? Monica is so clever.
it's an X-ray?
Yeah, well, it's a self-body scan from an iPhone. We had this Dr. Eric Topol on,
Uh-huh.
who is promoting people getting involved with their health with their own iPhone. There's all these different apps, and you can track your own. So, and he's given himself many body scans and diagnosed himself with some stuff.
With an iPhone?
I don't think
That's
the normal iPhone can right now, but he's like, that's where technology is going, and he has that access. And
Weird.
this is from his iPhone. It's as
That's his
good.
inside of his body.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got it, and it felt great. Anyways, that's Rob McElhenney,
Okay, got it.
who weirdly enough, boldly going nowhere.
Yeah.
Same boldly going nowhere
Yeah.
that Rob McElhenney wrote.
Yeah. That was like my first thing ever.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it was like a big deal.
Yes. Okay, so I think that's one of the funniest screenplays I've ever read in my life.
It was so fucking funny. And the the produced pilot was hilarious.
It was great.
Yeah, Tony Hale was in it. What the news I had heard was that they did the pilot and Fox wanted them to redo it.
Oh, okay.
And then they were like, no.
No, thank you. But thank you so much.
Yeah. I think after you do your own show your own way for so long, and then somebody comes in and says, like, hey, redo this for another $3 million, you're like, no, we just did it. That's what we wanted to do, and we've done it. If you don't want that, then moveon.org.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. MoveOn.org for sure.
But it's also like the chemistry of it, right? Like
Yeah.
when Jess and I did all of our shit, like that was cooked in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when we would go out, people were like, wow, this is electric, you know? In the room, it's electric because this is who we really are.
Yep.
I'm cutting her off. I'm correcting her. She's punching up my stories. Like,
Uh-huh.
you know, and we know each other super well. So it's like baked in, and that's how we write as well. And I think that you get
Yeah.
that. That's part of the
Yeah.
package. Whereas if you're casting a comedy and you're like, I hope these people feel like they're married and that they love each other and that there's a connection we can hang a whole show on, you know?
Yeah. There
Yeah,
is an
yeah, yeah.
intangible
Yeah.
magic thing about chemistry that I couldn't define for anyone.
Yeah. And like Keckner and I, we're so different, right? We have the same, though, comedy vocabulary. So when we start playing, I mean, part of it is just we're having such a good time together.
Yeah.
And he's always trying to make me break because he
Mhm.
knows if I laugh, it was really funny because
Yeah.
I'm not going to give him like a courtesy laugh. And vice versa. Like I'm always trying to make him break or, you know, say something that he didn't expect. So that feels good, I think, to watch and be witness to. Or
Well, I also
whatever.
think that when people are having fun, it's palpable.
Yeah.
How did you meet Jessica?
We both did the Upright Citizens Brigade in New York, but she was already on a team when I started taking classes there.
Uh-huh.
Jessica St. Clair, we should say.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jessica
St. Clair.
Jessica.
She was on a team already. And then I started, when I moved to New York, I did Second City first. There was like a sort of like a satellite program. And so I did that first. And then everybody was like, you got to get on a team at UCB because that's where it's at. Like
That's the fast
Yeah,
track.
that's the fast track. That's where there's a home theater where you're going to be performing every week. That's where all the good people are going. And I was like, sign me up. So I went and saw her do Mother, which was her like improv team, her legendary improv team.
Legendary.
Oh, it's legendary?
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, okay.
Scott Armstrong, Mansoukas, like all these
Big
great
dogs.
people, big dogs. Yeah.
Okay. The biggins.
And she was also did 2-person stuff with Jason. Like they had a couple written scripted shows, and then they had a pilot for HBO as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think the first time I like spoke to her, she was getting a haircut in the back of the
Backstage.
stage
That feels very
by one of our teachers, giving her like an asymmetrical bob. And I thought, all right, it's very dark back here. Like, how is he even seeing it? And then
It's kind of an alpha move, though, right? To get your hair styled backstage by your teacher. Isn't that kind of like a.
I don't know, it feels very vulnerable to me.
Yeah.
It feels Queen of the Roosty to me. Like, can you imagine if you went into a studio, like, and took a meeting with the studio president, and he was getting his hair trimmed, or she was getting her hair trimmed
Have
during
a
the
seat.
meeting?
Have a seat. I'll be right with you. So tell me about your project. Looks good. Let's go shorter on it. And you said there was a secondary character. Yeah.
That reminds me of Mike Judge. One time told me Mike Judge has the longest list of complaints, and they're all wonderful. They're all
Yes.
things that like he's putting a voice to, you know.
Yeah.
And one of them is like, you ever take a meeting with
like a dog lover, and then the dog's all on you, and then they make you feel bad for not being into dogs. And I was having a anaphylactic shock, and the woman said, "Oh, are you not a dog person?"
And I did think it is comical to just have a fucking 100-pound dog in your small office. And I thought, what if you had a chimpanzee as a pet? Like if dogs are on the table, why not anything?
Anything.
Yeah.
The snake squirrels up in between your legs. And you're like,
Yeah.
What the F, man? Jess and I did have a meeting. We were pitching our show. At the time, we were calling it Two Ladies and a Baby. It changed names to Playing House. But we pitched it to this guy who sat like open crotch to us, like legs akimbo.
Man spreading.
Yeah, feet up on the coffee table. And there was direct in his crotch a worn down patch where you could see right through.
Oh,
Whoa.
my
Yeah,
God.
this is a big time guy too, a big time producer, name on a lot of shows. Okay. And I was like, and then he was like, after we did our whole pitch, which involved like scenes and stuff like that we act out in front of you, which I don't know, maybe 5 minutes in, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like this guy for sure is not going to be a partner that I want to continue with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But afterwards he was like, sounds like a multicam to me. And I was like, but it isn't. Like we didn't pitch that. We're not pitching that. And he was like, well, but it would be a great multicam. And I'm like, dude, get your dick out of my face.
My
Can I ask some
God.
follow-up? Is it your theory that he scratched so much that he had worn the fabric down? Is that why the fabric was so thin?
I don't know. It was a light wash jean.
Okay.
I'm guessing his fave pair.
Sure.
There were patches all throughout the
Okay.
jean.
So it was threadbare in there in the gusset?
I think it was both. I think
Okay.
maybe it was like a fashion choice to have it kind of on the inner thigh.
Okay.
But then maybe he'd worn them so much and like the friction of it had made the whole move up and
Migrate
up.
north.
Yeah. You could see through to thigh/undies.
Okay.
Wow. Lots
Just pieces.
going on.
It
Don't put that on a calendar. Just FYI.
Okay. Good to know for next year.
It immediately makes me think, and I'm going to not say his name. A friend of mine did a movie with Matthew McConaughey, and Matthew invited my friend and my friend's cousin to come over to his trailer up on the PCH just to hang for the afternoon.
Yeah.
And when they got there, McConaughey was wearing like very short cutoff denim shorts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
This tracks.
my friend and his buddy get in the car to leave, and the buddy says, "Did you see McConaughey's nuts?" And he goes, "Oh my God, it's all I could see." And he goes, "Weren't they fucking beautiful?" And my friend goes, "They were so beautiful. Like they were tan and beautiful."
God.
And they both just couldn't believe how beautiful his testicles were. That's the only reason I tell that story, because ultimately they were fucking thunderstruck
real
with
turn.
how good looking because the scrotum
now
is ugly.
I want to see a photo of that because I'm like, I don't believe that.
I have
You
a
know what I'm
perfect
saying?
picture in my head of it. I'm picturing very little wrinkles, just taut balls.
Yeah.
And very tan and smooth.
Are there exercises you can do to tighten up your scrotal sack? Like, I don't.
If there are, McConaughey knows them.
That's true. I
imagine
do
them
imagine
like-
he does like a lot of squats.
Yes, and I imagine them like bull balls, just real big testicles.
Were they? So they
Not
were
hanging
hanging
down.
below the shorts.
Yeah, because he was sitting up like this, and they were
Legs
big,
akimbo.
gapey, cut off jean shorts, no panties,
Right.
and just testicles drooping out.
So
the
they
side.
were long enough that they were hanging below the shorts.
Not necessarily
line.
because those shorts they pick a side.
Yep, that's right.
Well,
Yeah, they're gonna land one.
you're being very generous because this is a man short.
But these
by
are
the
short
way.
shorts, right? These are short.
Very
These are
short.
McConaughey short shorts.
Textbook McConaughey's.
Wowie.
That makes me understand his confidence
Oh,
Yes.
God,
a little
yeah.
bit more. Does he have kids?
Yeah, he's got
I
kids.
think many.
A beautiful wife.
Yeah.
I don't think many.
I think like 3.
Oh, really? That's possible.
I don't know, but I
Anywho.
think
Can't wait to hear the follow up on
Yeah,
this
exactly.
app, so we know.
we'll find out. We'll find out.
So Jess,
So back to
yeah,
Jess.
So
meeting,
then,
haircut in a dark back room.
So we knew each other, like we were in the world together, but she was sort of a legendary status, right?
Sure.
And then you can check her black and white headshot on the streets of Soho for this, but She went for pilot season, like ready to get plucked out because she was a singular beauty and also funny as hell. And I stayed in New York still doing my thing, right? And then when I came out for pilot season, Boldly Going Nowhere, etc.,
Yeah.
we went out to lunch. I did my one-woman show. She saw it. We did a yoga class together that was insane, like an advanced teacher. And we were upside down with like our head on a block, like looking at each other. Like neither one of us ever done yoga and somehow ended up in this level 3. And we just locked eyes and we were like, this is it. This is forever. And then we started just improvising while we were eating turkey chili and then came up with an idea. We were like, should we do this? Do we want to do this?
Yeah.
We pitched an idea for a script and we sold it to HBO and we wrote that for like a year. And then we were both on sitcoms at the time. She was on a show called In the Motherhood, which was Megan Mullally and Cheryl Hines.
Okay.
And her
Uh-huh.
about moms.
That's a lot of firepower.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was on a show called Accidentally on Purpose where I played Jenna Elfman's weird sister. But it was a multicam.
Oh, okay.
And so for me, it was like a perfect segue into show business because I'd just been doing live shows like 4 times a week, teaching improv. And here I am like getting to do like full monologues in front of a studio audience.
Can I ask, like, so when you met Jessica, she was already on a team.
Yeah.
I'm kind of ignorant on how UCB works.
Yeah.
So how long would it take from the day you walk in the door there till you could be on a team? Or in then your case, and then teaching?
I think this is different now, but at the time, you had to complete at least 3 levels before you could even audition for a team. And they had auditions maybe once or twice a year. So I was in the 4th level, basically, which was 3B at the time, when I auditioned for a team and got on a team. And
How long have that taken to go through those 3.5 levels?
I started taking classes in 2002, and maybe I got on a team in 2003 at some point.
Oh, okay. And do women move faster through the program than men?
There are fewer of us in general, but I don't think so. I mean,
They're like 8 weeks, I think.
yeah, the classes are 8 weeks. They have intensives now, so you could like do a class in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like if I went through the program now, I'm not sure I would have gotten on a team so quickly.
Okay. 'Cause
Now, I would say the chances of getting on a team never are very high.
But at
And
the
they have
Groundlings,
once a year.
it was so lopsided with people entering the Groundlings.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but probably 3-to-1 men to women.
Yeah.
So, like, my sister went through 3 times faster than I did.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was always waiting around for next levels and stuff.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they didn't segregate. There just were less women doing it. You
Right.
know what I mean? But they didn't like hold men back. You had to prioritize it. Like you had to wait on the sidewalk to sign up for classes and you had to be one of the first, like whatever, 20 people in line to get in the class for the whatever you wanted. And you had to have cash
In hand.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And your form filled out and all that jazz. Isn't that wild?
It is.
So different.
And then I was on a team for a couple years. I was on an 8-person team called Dillinger, which was a Herald team. Zach Woods, Anthony King,
Another
Joe Wangert.
legendary team. She can't
Yeah,
say that,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I can.
Okay.
And I think we had 3 women to start with. I think it was one of the first teams that had more than one woman on it. And so that was fun to do.
Yeah. But people might not know, but I know, which is so exciting, is that you and Monica are Georgia sisters.
Yeah.
Marietta.
No.
No.
It's wrong on Wikipedia. You're Duluth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both Gwinnett County.
Gwinnett County. Beautiful county.
I grew up in Lilburn, was born at Northside Hospital in ATL proper.
My mom works for Northside.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then we moved when I was 4 to Gwinnett County to Lilburn, which is adjacent to Stone Mountain,
Oh, sure.
Laser show.
etc.
Staging of the Ku Klux Klan comeback.
That's right.
Sure.
That's right. Proud history.
Did you go hang there ever, like in your teen years?
At
Was Stone
Stone
Mountain a
Mountain?
destination to go like have some cocktails and make out and stuff?
I wasn't part of that
Group?
hang crew,
Okay.
as it were. It would be more like we're like making best friends with the dude at Dairy Queen.
Oh,
or yeah, I mean, I was at a youth group. I was going to the United Methodist Youth Fellowship.
Okay, like a Christian youth
Yeah,
thing.
multiple times a week.
Okay.
And so I had a totally separate friend group from my church to my school.
That you would meet at the
Yeah.
mall.
Yeah, I guess we did go to Gwinnett Mall,
Loved
Gwinnett
the
Place Mall.
Oh, that was my mall.
Oh, wow, that's your
yeah,
mall
that's
too.
also the Stranger Things Mall.
Oh, it is.
Oh my
Yes.
God, I didn't know
yes,
that.
Yes.
Oh, with the ice cream shop and
The ice cream shop and spoiler alert, where
How
the
could you
creature
have-
destroys. Yeah.
I didn't even.
How
put
the
two and
hell
two
did you
together.
not recognize
Listen,
that?
the mall has changed since
it
when I was
it
attending.
familiar to me. It looked similar to when I was growing up.
Because they dated it a bit.
Yeah, they made
Yeah,
it like an
that's
80s mall.
true.
Yeah.
But some of the pillars, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that center con. Yeah.
I get a feeling just from watching that Stranger Thing.
Yeah.
I get a warmth when I see a mall like that. I
Yeah.
spent so much time at the mall.
Yeah.
It was so
A
fun.
lot of walking around, a lot of like
Peeping
window
boys, right?
shopping, contempo casuals.
Oh.
I definitely was boy crazy, but it wasn't reciprocated.
Okay, no patty cake.
No. So there was a lot of like leering and like, but like every time dances would happen, I would be like, Scott, will you go to homecoming with me? And then he would be like, no. I got 3 no's from 3 different guys
Oh,
for my senior prom.
no.
Yes,
no.
my friend.
Lennon.
Yes.
Lennon,
I
we're
hope
we're
I hope they
sisters.
all watch Bless This Mess and fucking cut themselves
Oh, I
if they're
know, for
watching
real.
it. Yeah.
It's it's not surprisable. It's not surprisable.
Well, it is quite surprisable.
It's very surprisable.
really went to 7th grade right then. No, I looked like I was 12 until I was 24. And then I looked like I was 18,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still look 18.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Congrats.
What lane were you in? Were you funny in like junior high and high school?
Yeah, I was always a real weirdo.
Okay.
I always like freak flag fly. I was like, Halloween was my time to shine.
Oh,
And I
really?
would do like 7th grade. I made my own. I was inspired by Putting on the Hits. Do you remember that show? It was a lip sync competition show.
No.
Oh my God. Google it.
Was it a play on putting on the Ritz? Putting
Probably.
putting
Sounds
on
like
the-
it. Yeah.
That show has stuck with me in so many ways, but people would do a lip sync performance. Like one guy did Endless Love and painted half of his body Diana Ross and half
Oh.
of his body Lionel Richie. And he would just turn to sing each part.
Oh, I have a visual of
Yeah.
that.
So there was a costume on Putting on the Hits that I was inspired by. And so in 7th grade, I came as Carmen Miranda, the like Chiquita Banana
Oh,
Lady.
we know all about her.
No, you're
Coochie
thinking
Coochie.
of no.
That's
you're-
Charo.
That's Charo. Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Riding on the back of a man. So I built a cardboard box, right, with the head and torso of a man. And then my legs were his legs. And then I built fake Chiquita Banana Lady legs that hung over his shoulders.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
I was,
This sounds overt.
it,
Like, did your parents at all look at it and go like, "Oh my God, sweetie, it's so great"? In their mind, they were like, "What the fuck is this? What is this?"
no, they let me go for it.
They did.
They leaned into the weirdness of it. I was like, I know that this is unusual.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Was this costume a hit?
I got a
Oh,
photo in the
great.
yearbook.
Oh.
But I
Great.
don't think anybody else was as proud of me as I was.
You didn't like pass a group of people that were in the middle of talking about what a great outfit it was.
Definitely not.
Okay.
If anything, they were snickering about how weird I was.
Did
And
you
what-
get a superlative in your yearbook?
No, I was really gunning for the funniest.
Yeah.
which in-
class clown?
Class clown, yeah.
And I didn't get it.
Who got
I
it?
didn't get it. No, I don't know.
Okay, I hope she's watching Bless This
I don't
Mess
know.
too.
I don't know who that bitch was.
But
No.
she probably went out with Scott, is my hunch.
Yeah, Scott owns a wine shop in
Oh, he-
Atlanta now.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, he's doing great.
You're pretty dialed into what's all the moves he's making.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good.
He's married now. He's doing great.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. He
Great.
could be in sunny California with
I named a character after one guy I asked out, Mark Rodriguez.
That's his real name, or that's the name you created for the character?
That's his real name.
Oh, okay, good. Well, there's so many Mark Rodriguez's.
Yeah, but that was Keegan's character name on Playing House.
Oh.
And we said he was
Yes, that's
we said he was
right.
Dominican because my husband is Dominican, and so we thought he's past as Dominican. Keegan.
Sure,
That show's
sure,
so
sure.
good.
Thank you.
Now, what did mom and dad do?
My mom was a social worker.
Uh-huh.
So she worked in private practice and out of churches and stuff in marriage and family therapy.
Oh, okay.
And then got a more corporate job like managing mental health care for bigger companies like Home Depot, etc.
Uh-huh.
Whenever there was a crisis at a Home Depot, like a employee a seasonal employee went bananas,
Okay.
she would swoop in.
They'd deploy her.
Yeah.
And not to get into any kind of disparaging situation with Home Depot, but how frequent was she deployed?
I would
guess?
guess
I don't remember.
a lot.
I think because Home Depot employs so many, I don't want to get a slander against me or whatever, a cease and desist letter from HD, but yeah, I think because they employ so many seasonal employees.
Right.
I don't know. There's not a lot of either loyalty or like overarching care.
Right.
That makes
It's
sense.
like
Right.
H&R Block all
It's
over
a
again.
disposable. You got it.
The opposite of Costco employees, which are the happiest employees in the world. They pay them very well.
They do.
They never quit. The managers. I remember we were shooting in one in New Mexico, and this guy was pulling down $450 a year as the manager of Costco, and I was
Louise.
like, "This is
Goodness.
phenomenal for everyone."
I hate Costco.
Oh my God!
I can't.
really?
I can't.
It's
with
a
it.
lot.
It's too much. It's
Yeah.
overwhelming.
Well, have you ever gone on off hours when it's not?
It does.
A
It's
shit
not
show?
the people. It's the products.
Oh,
it's
it's
too.
the
It's
amount-
too
yeah.
much stuff.
Oh, okay. Boy, yeah,
Floor
we're
to
opposite.
ceiling, and then like the idea that I'm gonna have to consume 3 bread loaves quickly, like I just kind
Well,
of can't handle it.
I don't recommend it for
It gives me
perishables.
anxiety to
Sure.
think about.
But shampoo, mayonnaise, Ziploc bags, buying that big fucking thing, go, oh my God, I won't be out of
What
these
do I
for a
do
year and a
with
half.
the other? Like, I don't have enough space in my house to have a second place for Ziplocs.
I
though.
didn't either. I
Yeah.
shopped at Costco when I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. There was stuff stacked up under tables, you know.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
thank you.
Okay, that's not for you.
No, thank you.
And what did your old man do?
He did a couple things. When I was born, he worked at the DeKalb County Department of Recreation. And he
Oh.
would like help manage the pools and the softball program,
Oh.
baseball program. And then he worked for air conditioning company.
HVAC.
Yeah. And then he worked for Goodman Painting and Decorating. They did like IBM Tower downtown when it was like
Ah.
first. They did the Atlanta airport when it got remodeled.
Great airport.
Yeah, and he was like an estimator, so he would go in and do the bid on the project.
Okay. In all this movement,
Yeah.
was it driven by an opportunity would present itself, or was he just restless?
Both, I think.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I feel like he was taking jobs that would pay him more money, that would give me more opportunity.
Right.
Right. So everything was like an upgrade
Yes.
for his salary. Not necessarily like, was it satisfying? Did it give him joy? You
Yes.
know? He started to get really into bluegrass music. He'd always been a musician. He played the drums. That's how he paid his way through college, playing in a group called the Sweet Youngins that did like covers of like late 60s songs.
Does that title work today?
Sweet Youngins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
It's on the fence.
I mean, if we're gonna do a calendar for a children's hospital,
That's true.
full
That's
of
the
dick
world we're
pics.
living in.
Yeah.
But a dude heavy band called Sweet Youngins. I think I don't know. I just think today.
Oh,
it
I
might-
see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like that-
maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were in matching like Sergeant Pepper like
Okay.
jackets. Do you know what I mean? So
Sure.
it worked at the.
Yeah. It wasn't overtly sexual
Yeah.
or aggressive. Okay.
But I mean, this is also the era of like, young girl, get out of my life, you know, which is
Yeah.
Yeah.
about a dude having an obsession with a teen girl.
Well,
and there
I-
were so many songs about
So
that.
many.
Most songs were about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
She
I'm a girl
is-
watcher.
She was 15 years old. La, da, da, da. I don't even know what the song's about, but I have to imagine it's not great. What are you singing about a 15-year-old girl? Just
Don't say the age. Like, why do you
Yeah,
have
I
to
know
say
why.
the age? And then that police song references.
oh,
Yeah.
teacher, young
Yeah,
teacher.
that's right.
I love that song.
Yeah, it's like it's an
It's
older,
good
and
song.
I remember it being rumored growing up because Sting had been a teacher before he was Sting, that this was some kind of personal situation, right?
Ruh.
The student, she watches. Like he's basically saying he's being seduced
He
by.
wants her so
But
badly.
hello.
Knows what he wants to be.
Oh. And we
She's
love.
waiting.
Oh.
Dog bus stop.
Oh.
Ah,
Ooh,
yes.
gross. Yeah, she's like at a bus
His
stop and
It's
he's in his car.
raining.
warm and
I think
dry.
it's raining.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh my
boy.
gosh. Yeah, it's problematic.
Oof.
But also
problematic.
like the stuff that all of my romantic dreams were.
Of
I
course.
know.
Monica too. I mean, she
Yeah.
never was attracted to anyone less than twice her age until
Yeah.
recently.
Well, even still.
Mm-hmm.
I had to up my age on Raya so that Brad Pitt could fit nicely in the range.
Brad
you know?
Pitt.
She
well,
saw-
I gotta keep him in.
She saw Hollywood
Yeah, yeah. Once
confidential.
And I always
Once
am.
upon a time. And she immediately got home and changed her riot to include his age.
Just
That's a
in
real
case.
story.
Just in case.
Are you want to have a family?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yes and maybe.
You're
32.
Yeah. Okay.
I have some time. A couple of years.
Yeah, yeah,
Five,
for
10
sure, for sure,
5,
for
10
sure. You have
minutes, yeah.
time. Yeah, you have time.
I've offered to freeze her eggs and pay for it, by the way. Armchair Expert as a company has offered to pay for her egg freezing
Because Netflix
does.
pays, and my friend got it done
And
because
I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
You don't think the employer should be involved with her eggs? Is that what you're?
I mean, yeah, it was nice that it's covered if the person wants it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But the sort of underlying lesson there is like, you can keep working.
that
You don't need to have
No,
a
that's not mine.
family.
That's not mine.
Okay.
Because she
that
could.
is Netflix.
No, I don't think that's your
Oh,
intention.
right.
But
Yeah.
like, you don't have to do this right now. You don't have to stop working. You're
Yeah,
doing
you
such a
can
good
have kids in
job.
your 60s.
Just
Many-
keep going. Just
most
keep
people-
going.
yeah.
We'll just plan them
What
up
could be better than
later.
being 60 and coming home from the hospital with your brand new little baby?
You don't want to interrupt your career right now. You're doing such a great job.
Everything's doing great.
You're climbing the shit out of this ladder.
Yeah.
Do you realize what
Look at that
running?
glass ceiling. You're almost there.
You see, you're almost banging your head against that glass ceiling.
Yeah, I'm not certain about the children,
Okay.
but I want a partner. Yeah,
I'm just saying someone in your age range is going to be better to parent with. Like someone within.
Well,
the-
let's just start by saying dudes probably are like half as involved when they're your age.
Yeah.
Now you add in some near retiree, it just gets a little scarier.
not going to be a full parent partner, like squatting down on the floor and
Rolling around.
doing tummy time.
Yeah, no tummy time for a 60-year-old
I don't know
man.
if I'm gonna be doing tummy time.
Well, then all the more reason you got to get in even younger.
Yeah.
is your husband older than you or your age?
He's
or-
11 months older than me.
Okay.
First of all, her husband, Javier.
Yeah. Javier.
I asked him not to pronounce it like that, so I'm sorry.
I kept saying his name this morning in the kitchen. I kept saying Javier.
You say it with a B.
I know.
Because I like that Venezuela. Like I like these letters
sure.
that are other letters.
Like Barcelona.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I just made the V a B. I feel like it could be Javier. Like, did he say B or V? And she was getting
Javier.
offended for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, on your behalf.
But he
Thank
was on an
you.
episode of Bless This Mess, and he's a fucking babe. He's a smoke show.
I'm not surprised.
He's
It's
very
not
boxy.
surprisable.
And they had sexy chemistry. I could feel it. I was impressed that he was so confident because he's not an
Yeah.
actor. He's never acted.
No.
And you throw him right into the fire pit.
Wow.
And he was
That's
he
impressive.
was
He's
he was
very
great.
shy. He's a true introvert.
Okay. He's an educator.
He's an educator, works for a company called Big Picture Learning. So he helps schools change models. Right now, he's working with a lot of continuation schools, vocational schools, alternative education.
Mm-hmm.
And they're sort of rerouting like what school looks like, reshaping it, reforming it.
Yeah.
So Lake was like, you're going to have to kiss somebody in this scene. Would your husband want to do it? And I was like, well, I don't think so. But I'll ask him. But I really didn't think he was going to do it.
Yeah.
And then he said, yeah, sounds good. And I was like, I'll let you think about it. Like overnight, like, let me know what you think in the morning. So like a big question, you have to take a whole day off from work. And then he was like, no, I want to do it. And I was like, yeah, I was so nervous. I was nervous for him to have a good experience. I was nervous for Lake and for the show to get what they wanted.
Yeah,
And it was a
that's
whole thing. And I
stressful.
never thought in a million years he was ever going to say yes.
What if he now rocketed past you career-wise?
Oh my God. No, thank you. I want to support him in what he's doing now.
Right.
Not anything beyond that.
Radical career change. Into,
He's so good at what he does too. Our costume designer was like, what's your dream man? Like, what do you want a man? And I was like, throw him in a bolo tie, give him some cowboy boots and some tight Wranglers. And she did it. And he did look very handsome
yeah.
in a blazer and a bolo.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Being from Georgia,
Yeah.
maybe cowboy boots. Can you get into that?
I guess. Like, I think I rebelled against it because it was so prevalent everywhere. And I felt like it wasn't who I was.
Yeah.
And so I like actively did not listen to country music. I hated it. Like I
Sure.
was vocal about not liking it and not liking that sort of like redneck
Culture.
reversion.
Yeehaw lifestyle.
Yeah. But I mean, all of my family is from rural Alabama, rural Georgia. Like,
Yeah.
it's as Southern as you get. It's deep South. And so when I did Teach for America after college and I lived in the deep, deep South in Mississippi, it was only country radio stations.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell in love with country music.
Did you assess that, like, okay, here's the going thing in Georgia.
Yeah.
Big blonde hair, fat naturals.
Yeah.
All this stuff.
It's like a walking guest ad.
Yes, I'm not going to be able to play that game, so I'm going to pick another game.
Yeah.
Can you remember what was motivating you to kind of reject that? Did you think just you weren't going to be included in that?
I mean, I think I was trying to be that, but like it felt so weird anytime I would do any of that. Like try on sexuality felt like very foreign and not good. But I knew I was funny. Like maybe because my parents, in my like growing up education, there was not like a separation between adults and children. Like my mom was very like, I want you to feel like you're on an equal playing level. And in the South, in the 80s, that wasn't necessarily like,
yeah, kids were supposed to say ma'am and
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yeah.
so like if I were to have like an adult conversation with an adult as a 7-year-old, that would make the adult very uncomfortable.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But I had that sort of like weird confidence in my weirdness like very early on.
Right.
And it made everyone uncomfortable. I just felt like I hadn't found my people. Like I felt like I needed to go seek those people
Elsewhere. Yeah.
And the only thing I could see that it was theater, because that's where I kind of felt like I fit in my high school, even though it wasn't exactly. And then senior year, we did comedy sports competition and we won. My school won.
Oh, wow.
And I had like the blow of the whole thing.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
The
and
big black outline?
Yeah. It was one of these improv games where you like say freeze and then you add on. And so you have to like make whatever physicality the people who are already in the scene doing make sense with your initiation.
Yep.
And I was the very last person. So it was like a lot of freeze. And then it would be 3 people, freeze. And then it would be 4 people. And then I was the 8th person and I said freeze. And everybody was like, what's she going to say? Yeah. And I think I came out and leaped and started singing, Fame, I'm going to live. And then everybody could do it.
Yeah.
And it was like bananas.
Oh, wow. What a moment. That's kind of like Monica's
big
state
moment.
championship.
Oh, I've had a
God.
few. Yeah.
Well,
Just a couple.
so yeah, you went to college and you majored in theater.
Yeah.
You don't have this guy has to be wrong on Wikipedia. You don't have a BS.
Yeah, I do.
Why?
So our school had like BS would be like the performance major, like if you did scenic design or something very specific. But I was accepted into the program as what's called a generalist. And that was someone who could kind of do all of the things and had like good grades in high school.
A Jane of all trades.
Yeah.
What school was this?
University of Evansville in Southern Indiana.
Oh.
And so they had like a very good liberal arts theater program. And it was like eat, sleep, and breathe theater. But I did costume design. I did directing. I did acting. I was really pushing the acting thing. I was like, I know you accepted me as this, but wait till you see this.
Yeah. I'm actually a specialist, not a generalist.
But I mean, it was a good overall education.
Yeah.
I felt like, and I think that's why I got a BS. But that also enabled me to do things like minor in French and
Yeah. So when you got out of college, you went and taught French.
yeah.
For 2 years.
Yeah. I auditioned for like a bunch of grad schools for theater. I wanted to get a master's in theater at like Yale Rep or something.
Right.
But they didn't care for that idea as much.
They thought you were more of a generalist.
Yeah. And I hadn't honed in on the comedy piece, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Like I had always thought about doing something like a Peace Corps, but that felt real scary to me.
Mm-hmm.
And AmeriCorps and Teach for America was like a new program at that time. It had only been around a couple of years. And I had been teaching on and off in different various ways all my life. And I thought maybe this would give me a couple years of growing up that I felt like I would need fortitude before I like hit the mean streets of New York and try to sell my wares, you know?
Yeah. And then so after 2 years of teaching, which was that any sting situations?
No.
Young student.
You know, it was interesting
Because it is the language of love, no?
I was at the time maybe 3 years older than some of them. You know what I
Which
mean?
is
I'm
total-
22 years old,
Yes.
and I've got seniors who are old for seniors,
Right.
like
Some of
18,
them are-
19-year-old young men who are like on the football team.
Big male bodies.
Wow.
There was a gentleman named Theodric Scott.
Ooh, tell
who-
me more.
They also called him Naughty Rock.
Fuck yeah, they did.
He was a delight, but also a challenge in the
Uh-huh.
classroom. And so if I did wear, like, they noticed everything. So I was very generic. I tried to not like instigate
Yeah.
anything.
Again, you're 3 years older than them.
I know,
That's
but
so
they don't know that.
intimidating.
They were like, Miss P, how old are you? How old are you? And I was like, I'm not going to tell you that, but I'm 83. And they would be like, oh, she's 38. Flip the script, you know? And I would be like, that's great. Let them believe what they want to believe. I'm not available to them in that capacity.
Right.
Naughty Rock.
He blurred the lines.
He
a little
did do some like sucking his teeth and like,
Oh,
but
boy.
but mostly it like,
Sucking his teeth.
no, I kicked him out one time because a student was giving a presentation and he was like
Oh,
looking her up and down, and I was
Oh,
like,
my God.
I was like, no, hon, out, you're out.
Uh-huh.
And then he,
He said, "That's just how
Yeah.
Naughty Rock do."
yeah, and then he goes outside, and I was teaching mine. I had half of a double wide trailer, TL Weston High School in Greenville, Mississippi, and so he goes out the door, and like 5 minutes later, I just see the top half of him jumping up above the window, and he's like, Miss P, you're prejudiced against men.
You're prejudiced against men.
I was like, no. Anyway, it was like when I got to New York after teaching high school for 2 years, I was like, bring it fucking on.
Yeah.
'Cause there is
Yeah.
nothing harder in the
Yeah.
whole world than teaching high school.
And you were living in rural Mississippi
Yeah,
by
yeah.
yourself?
When I moved there, I had a roommate, other people, other teachers. So we got like a little tiny house, which was like the nicest place I'd ever lived. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like it was like the cost of living there is nothing.
Yeah.
I did start dating while I was there.
One of the other teachers?
No. Well, I met him doing community theater.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. Wonderful.
So like after the first semester, when I was like drowning in depression, I was like, I gotta do something that's for me because I
Yeah.
can't just like chain smoke on my patio to get over this shit. Because it was hard. It was very hard.
And did the teachers party hard, like in this house? Did you guys get home from that day of school and just
my roommate was not of that ilk. Like
Okay.
she would more like work her
Hit the
anxiety out
Bible.
through like stuffed peppers or whatever.
Sure.
But I mean, we would go out. There was like a place called the How Joy Chinese restaurant that had a lounge attached.
Oh, this
Yeah.
Wow.
And there was karaoke every Friday and Saturday night. So you could find me there
That-
very frequently.
this is a weird mix of like it sounds depressing and it sounds like heaven to me.
Until I found that outlet, and then I was doing like the community theater productions of Narnia, Smoke on the Mountain.
And you had a lover, and
Yeah,
you had some
Yeah.
good strong drinks
Yeah.
at the Chinese restaurant.
And then I had like my go-to karaoke song.
Journey.
Fancy by Reba McEntire.
Reba?
Oh.
Yeah. I was doing a lot of Pat Benatar. You
Oh,
know?
sure.
Yeah.
Wait,
You get-
was this
oh, sorry.
boyfriend your first real boyfriend
No.
in college?
College. Yeah. My first love was in college.
Where did he go on to?
He's a working actor.
He is.
Yeah. He's very successful.
He's very successful.
He works.
He works.
Yeah, he works.
Have you ever bumped into him at
Yes.
work?
An audition?
At a Chipotle in Union Square.
Okay, well that's a little different. I was imagining you get to work and you find out your scene partner is your ex.
Oh, no. He's
Amicable split or a heartbreaking split?
Broke up and then we got back together, but he was with my friend. It was not. It was
Got messy.
it was nasty.
Well, I hope he's watching Bless This Mess and is also upset.
Oh, I'm sure he's giving it a toss.
Everyone's upset when they're watching Bless This Mess.
There's so many people are pissed when they watch Bless This Mess. So really quick, the big choice to move to New York. Was there like a moment where you're like, I'm fucking doing this Laverne and Shirley style?
I knew it was going to be either New York or LA
Mm-hmm.
for a long time. I got a U-Haul. My mom and I actually drove the U-Haul up the coast and like drove across like the Verrazano Bridge. It was so nerve-wracking.
Was she scared for you?
She was terrified.
Yeah.
But she never let on.
Oh, that's
That's
nice.
nice.
That's one thing that I hope to be able to do, because I think about what it must have felt like for her to let me go.
To turn
right?
your little country
Yeah.
girl over to the
Oh
big
my
city.
God. Thinking about letting my children go do something like that. I mean, I'm so like, before she goes out the door to an ice skating lesson, I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's cover some bases. If this happens, let's do,
Yeah,
and
role play.
there was just none of that fear. I didn't feel that fear from them. There was something in me that was just like, let's do this.
So how long in total was that stretch?
I was in New York from 2000 to 2010, but in 2008, I started coming to LA.
Okay.
And then I got a job here. So I would be here for like 3 weeks and then go back to Brooklyn for a week.
And when did you meet Javier?
Like a month after I moved there.
No way.
Yeah.
Doing what?
Teaching. So I got a job as an advisor to a group of incoming teachers for the New York equivalent of the Teach for America program.
Okay.
And it was a bunch of TFA alumni that were running it. And so they knew me and they knew that I knew what I was doing. And so they hired me. And I would, like, for a month in the summer, in July and August, we would go to grad school level classes. And I would do like 2 hours of lesson planning and grade books and classroom management stuff. And we would do role playing and practice lessons and all this stuff. And he was one of the 25 teachers. Most of them were like in their 20s and 30s, and they were like leaving whatever job they had to go teach public school.
Yeah.
Or in his case, he'd been teaching private middle school, and now he was going to be teaching public school. And the program paid for you to get your master's. So all these people were going to Brooklyn College at the same time and getting a master's degree in, he got it in poetry. We took enough education credits to make it count.
Uh-huh.
That makes sense.
Uh-huh. So when you guys decided to move to LA permanently,
Yeah.
was that hard for him?
He moved to New York when he was 5 from the Dominican Republic.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd been in Brooklyn 25 years at that
Wow.
point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got married. I think we were like 30, 31 when we got married. And we met when we were 25. And I mean, that was where all his family was. Got 4 brothers, mother, like cousins,
I have to imagine
aunts,
a
uncles.
very tight family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like I wasn't allowed to ask, really.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew my career was like bringing me out here. And at the same time that I got my first like Accidentally on Purpose series, picked up to series, and Jess and I were writing the script, he became a principal of a brand new high school that he had created
Oh,
Oh,
my
geez.
God.
in Brooklyn.
This has divorce written all over it.
Yeah. And so we're both like having these
Big moment.
big moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our relationship was never built on really being together all the time. Like even when we were living together, I was waiting tables 3 nights a week, doing shows 1 night a week, teaching 1 night a week. There was maybe like a Tuesday night, maybe then like the 4 hours that we overlapped in the bed because I would get home at 2 a.m. from waiting tables and
Yeah.
he would have to leave for school at 6:30.
Ooh.
You know, so
Yeah.
we never said to each other, like, you got to change what you're doing for me. And anytime that happened or that leaned into, I think we both were like, hey, this is who I am. This is what makes me happy. This is what I have to do.
Right.
Don't make me feel guilty for needing to do this.
Yeah. Now, I couldn't do that. I'm too needy.
It was really, really hard
I
for
would've-
both of us. We're not good on the phone. And we
Right.
would Skype and we would just be like, it was just so much to catch up on too. Like
Yeah.
so much had happened in my day and to catch him up. And it seems so minuscule, my problems and like, which agent should I pick? And he's
Yeah.
like dealing with like these kids every day, you know, like real shit. And
Yeah.
but I would go home. I would be home for like a couple months at a time sometimes, you know, but it looked like everything was leaning towards this is where my work is going to need to be. But if he had said to me, I can't move to LA, like I have to be here, I would have been like, okay, we'll make it work.
Okay.
I'll get a job here. I'll just say no to LA stuff.
We interviewed this guy too, who's a negotiating expert.
Yeah.
FBI hostage negotiator.
Yeah.
Like just giving someone immediately the opportunity to say no
Yeah.
can somehow make
Unlock everything.
Yeah, like if Kristen comes home and says, we're going to Atlanta for 4 months. I'm like, I'm not. But if she comes home and is like, they offered me to go to Atlanta for 4 months, we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, okay. Well, then I start trying to find my way into how we could do it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, there's some kind of magic power. Like, so maybe just the fact that he knew you wouldn't have picked it over him.
Yeah. He said, like, maybe we should go. Like, maybe we should move. This seems like it's going to keep happening and I want to be near you. And I was like, and I want to be near you. Like, we love each other.
Yeah.
And then after he made that decision and he had given his notice, like I could not stop sobbing because I was like, I'm forcing him to do this. And I called my mom and my mom was like, have you ever known him to do something he doesn't want to do? Like,
good mom.
he has his own choice here.
Yeah.
He wants to go. He's trying this thing. Maybe he wants to leave Brooklyn. Who knows why? But he wants to go. So stop carrying that because that's not yours to carry. And I was like, okay. And then I thought his family was going to be really upset. And his mom kind of sets the tone for all of that. His mom has passed away since, but she was amazing.
The matriarch.
Yeah. When we told her that we were leaving, was like, good. You should be together. You're married. And I was like, oh, good moms. And so we came out here and I was so nervous he was going to hate it.
Well, I would be nervous of two things. One, he's going to hate it.
Yeah.
B, oh my God, now I have to succeed at this.
Right.
Like the pressure is like, I moved us all the way out here, and now if I don't get work,
well,
or
interesting
maintain work.
enough, literally he'd given his notice 2 weeks, and they passed on my HBO pilot, and my TV show got canceled.
Oy, oops.
And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And so Jess and I were like, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And then we just were moving forward with it. And then he worked for Big Picture at the time. The high school that he started in Brooklyn was a Big Picture learning model high school. And so when they found out he was moving to LA, they were like, we have a high school in LA. Will you come and visit? And so he went and visited. It's this all girls charter school that was at the time about 40% pregnant or parenting girls. It's in Filipino town. It's like a phenomenal high school. And so he flew out and fell in love with that. And so that helped a lot. And then we came out to look for apartments, and Jess and I took our new idea around to production companies, and that was what became Best Friends Forever.
Yeah. And so a pretty crazy thing for you guys to get your own show at that point.
Yeah.
No?
Yes.
On NBC?
Yes.
And they order it?
Yes.
That's pretty bonkers.
Yeah, it was for ourselves to star in. And that was after a couple pilot seasons of us both going out for like me, the weird one, and her, the like bitchy girlfriend. And we were like, this doesn't feel right. Like women aren't just these two things. We're all of those wrapped up
Both
into
of those
one.
things
Yeah,
in one
yeah.
body.
I'm
Yeah.
all of those things at any given time. So we turned it in and they really liked it, but it was like the last thing to get picked up of all the pilots. And they were like, we only have $500,000 left. So will you make like a 7-minute sizzle reel? And we were like, we'll make a pilot. And they were like, we can't do that. It's only $500,000. And we were like, we've been doing comedy for free in a basement. We can do it.
Yeah.
And so we did. We made the pilot and they loved it. And then they picked it up to series, but also like it was kind of a low budget series.
Sure.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Now, the pressure of running a show,
Yeah. It nearly killed us the first season.
I was just going to say, that's a huge learning curve.
I didn't have kids yet, thank God.
Yeah.
I had a husband that I just moved across the country and was ignoring to
It's
write a
like,
television
goodbye.
show about best friendship. Yeah, it was hard. Our studio was actually next door to his school. It was Occidental Studios, which is literally next door to his high school.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there were times I would like walk out and go like, I need to see,
Yeah.
let me get eyes on you. It was hard. Like, I don't know what I'm good at. I just wrote a
Right.
pilot for the first time. Like, before
Yeah.
that, I only had written like essays and
some
like
sketches,
a one-woman
maybe?
show. Yeah, and some sketches. So like, I don't know what makes a compelling story.
Yeah.
Jess's husband, Dan, is a playwright and studied playwright. So he would be like, guys, this isn't a scene. Doesn't have a conflict in it. You know what I mean? And we would be like, but it's funny. Look at this, And he was like, yeah, but nobody's going to care if it doesn't drive forward a character moment,
Right.
And so he was super duper helpful to us and patient. We were there insane hours. We were there every weekend. Both of us ended up in the ER at one point for food poisoning, or in my case, all over body hives,
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
which I think was just like adrenal fatigue. I don't know. I mean, at the time, I was like, I had gotten a massage and I blamed it on the expired Victoria's Secret body lotion. I think it was just because we were 2 times in the ER for that.
2 times.
Yeah. Set doctor came. I started to get them all over my back and my arms.
Ooh.
And he gave me 3 days of prednisone, which took me through. We got to Brooklyn to shoot for a week. And the prednisone wore off. And they came back worse. All over my entire body. Fever, chills. Spent the afternoon in the urgent care /ER. I had an Upper East Side hospital because that's where Jessica's brother, who was an eye surgeon, told us to go. Worked the next day. And then the next day, they came back even worse, all over my face and my mouth.
Oh.
And that's when we went back to the ER, and I was like in the ER
overnight.
Yeah, on IVs, et cetera.
How, I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but how do mouth hives feel? Horrendous?
It's like, it just feels swollen. It feels like everything is swelling up. And that's the fear, is that your throat is going to swell shut and you're not going to be able to breathe.
And this is clearly just stress, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I have found, like, I hate to acknowledge it, but when I have bouts of arthritis, I'm always so focused on my diet, which certainly does impact it.
Yeah.
But really, I think it's more related to stress.
Yeah.
Was it New York Presbyterian?
I don't know. I don't honestly know. It could have been Upper East Side.
Yeah. I
Like
was just there.
70th something.
Oh, right. For your seizure, you went there. And you liked it, right?
I loved it.
Yeah. You
my
get a
favorite.
slice of pizza, and
I was
good
like,
bagel.
is this how it works? I don't frequent
Yeah.
hospitals, so I was really
You were
like,
ER. It was an ER situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like on a cot in the middle, like by the nursing station.
yes.
It was like all the people that like were dying were like in the cordoned off like curtained rooms, and I was just like in the hallway,
Same.
like with Benadryl surging through my.
Oh, wow.
And you were in the hallway too,
I was in the
because they didn't
hallway.
think you were gonna die.
They decided I wasn't gonna die.
But you don't feel that way at the time. You
Exactly.
feel like I'm for sure gonna die. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just died and got brought back to life, and,
And
I
you're
might
there
die again.
by yourself.
No,
I
mom's
wasn't.
there.
Kristen was with me, thank God.
Yeah, I remember reading a Bill Murray interview, I don't know, 12 years ago. And, he generally doesn't love being famous. His quote is always like, if you're thinking about becoming rich and famous, I just recommend the rich part. But he said the one really nice thing about being
Great
famous
quote.
is you do get treated really nice at the hospital. And especially when you go
yeah.
with your kids, they kind of tend to really give you that attention.
Yeah.
And I always
that's nice.
remembered that, and I've found that to be true a couple different times.
Yeah, one of the neurologists did like this show.
Oh, really?
And told me so, which I appreciated that.
And then you feel like, oh, they're really going to care.
Now they care about my well-being because
Yeah.
she likes this show. She
Yeah.
wants it to go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another one came and said, "Oh, I heard I'm supposed to listen to your podcast." I was like,
Yes, leave the room, go listen to a few, and then come back and tell me what's going on.
yeah.
Okay, so now when it got canceled, then were you relieved because it had been so stressful and so much work, or were you heartbroken?
I was devastated.
You were devastated.
Totally devastated because I think I believed so much in it. And, it was the first time I was getting fan response. When our fans like our stuff down into their deepest selves, like
Yes.
Yeah.
they recognize themselves in it. They've never seen this on screen portrayed in such a way. So like we were getting these like love letters. And I was like, well, if this is the case, then it must be widespread or whatever.
Yeah.
We were placed after Off Their Rockers, which was the elderly prank show hosted by Betty White. That was when we aired.
Of course.
The show did not do well after that, a nuanced best friend comedy.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Did not do well. I was really proud of the show. We did end up putting out, I think, like the best version of that at the time that it could have been.
And what you set out to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first thought, honestly, that crossed my mind was I got to have something else in my life besides this.
Oh, yes.
My happiness cannot depend on someone else making a choice for me.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm going to get pregnant.
Oh, so that was a response to that.
Yeah,
And it works though, right?
it totally works.
It does,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
It-
it's still there. Those things that your anxieties, they are all there, but they kind of get checked. Like the first audition I went on after having Soraya felt so good because the priority was like, I'm going to go in, I would have like spiraled after that. I would have like second guessed all of the choices that I made in that audition before I had her.
Yeah.
Right. But it was for Fargo.
Uh-huh.
I remember I went in somewhere off Sunset casting office, weird place. And then I went in.
The first season of Fargo?
Yeah. First
Okay.
season.
Oh.
I did the audition. It went well. I left. I got on my car. I checked my phone to see if I gotten any alerts about my daughter. I drove straight home. I wanted to see her. I couldn't wait to see her.
Yeah.
I didn't think about Fargo again.
Yeah. So I went to Home Depot
Yeah.
when Lincoln was about 8 weeks old. And I had been sitting in a bed staring at her for 8 weeks. And when I went to Home Depot, I was like, I felt like I was at Mardi Gras. Like I was fucking out of this house. It was like a party, just cruising the aisles and looking at shit. I remember being elated there because I had just left this responsibility.
Yes.
So also like even going to an audition when you have an 8-week-old, it's a little bit of a like, ooh, I'm on a little break here.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of in a better mood. Then it's just about you got to go and do that for 20 minutes of your day, which is that's its own reward as opposed to before. It's the only point of it is to get the job and everything. But
Right. Yeah, no, I think there was some of that. And also like I was nervous that I wasn't going to be funny anymore or that I wasn't going to care about it or that I was only going to want to be a mom now.
yeah.
And that things got crystal clear. Like I remember when I had a 2 or 3 day old, before I gave birth, I had auditioned for Eastbound and Down, which is one of my all-time favorite shows.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you're made to be with Danny McBride in some capacity.
I'm going to find him and attack him. I did, I'm going to digress for a second, but Owen Burke, who works for the Will Ferrell, Adam McKay Company, Gary Sanchez. He was a UCB, old school UCB guy. And I had been here for a couple weeks, I think, just going back and forth. And he called me and he was like, hey, can you come do this table read? Here's the address. It's tomorrow morning at 9:30. I roll in thinking it's like a play table read. Like we're just going to hear it out loud for the actors, right? Not even like full hair and makeup, just like an old ratty, dirty t-shirt. I walk into the room and it's the table read for Eastbound and Down episodes 2 and 3.
Oh my goodness.
Will Ferrell was there, the
What?
president of HBO. Chris Rock at one point walked in, but I had not even seen the scripts ahead of time.
Oh,
He was like, I just need you to read it like some of the auxiliary roles. Well, the auxiliary role that he needed me to play was the super white trash girlfriend, the one that's like topless on a jet ski.
Yeah.
And I have the very first scene of the episode, and it's me screaming at Kenny Powers. How dare you fucking leave me, you piece of trash, you asshole, And then I start looking and it's just like a 4-page scene with just me and Danny McBride. And I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I have to do it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, it went well.
Yeah.
And I was like at home
Uh-huh.
and felt like amazing. So they offered me a part. And I had like a 3-day-old and I was going to have to go for 5 weeks.
Oh.
And I was like, no, like immediately, just like without hesitation,
Mm.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
And that was the first time ever I had an easy no. And on something that I was like,
You
you
like.
know, obsessed with and had
Yeah.
been like actively seeking out. But I was like, I just know this is more important right now. This is where I have to be.
But by the way, isn't it interesting? Like it takes caring about some little things so much that you treat yourself in a way that maybe you could have treated
Yeah.
yourself. It's like
Yeah.
it gives you this weird confidence to
Yes.
do that.
There's something more important than me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I am charged with making sure that this person is okay in the world.
yeah.
And I can't do that if I'm like laughing my rocks off in Wilmington, North Carolina or wherever.
Right. And Jessica also had a kid of
Yeah.
similar age.
She got so mad at me when I got pregnant. She was like pissed off because I think she felt tied to me, right? And that this was going to make me essentially unavailable to her. She also had the fear that I was going to just drop off the face of the earth and only want to be, because I was like super into being pregnant.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like
Same with
midwifing
Kristen.
it up, obsessed.
Yeah.
Like totally like, oh my God, you guys, you know that your body temperature changes? Like if the baby gets cold, your like body temperature will raise to help the baby's temperature. Like I was just into all the
miracle
details
of
of it.
yeah.
Oh my God, amazing.
Okay, so then you do 26 episodes of Plain House.
Yeah.
And do you get into a rhythm and learn how to work and learn how to manage all that stuff?
Yeah. I think we got better and better every year. We got better at like hiring people to support us, like better at delegating, like
Mhm.
trusting people to do their job. And, like you just have this feeling like you want them to know exactly what's in your brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then if you don't leave them room to do what they're great at, there's something missing. And you're like, why do I have this amazing person who's great at their job? So that takes a while to learn.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It is hard to trust people.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk about the fact that I'm jealous of you in a couple ways.
What?
Because you're in all the fun comedy clubs. Like, you're on Curb.
That just happened, though.
I don't care. I'm not on Curb. And then Veep, you're in Veep, which is the
Yes.
greatest cast ever assembled.
Oh my God,
in
amazing.
in a comedy.
Yeah. The first time I auditioned for that, Jess got the part.
Okay.
Yeah. Playing Tony Hale's girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then I auditioned again. And that was like the first time I ever had an audition where I was like, if I don't get this, I'll be okay, because this audition was better than anything I've ever. It was Julia Louis-Dreyfus was there.
She was there.
I knew the script, right?
Mhm.
But then they were like, can we just play around? And I was like, yeah. But it was in character as this woman who's like super wishy-washy. And so it was like hard to improvise
Yeah.
that, because
Yeah.
like a lot of times improv is funny for me in the specifics. And like her game is that she never gives specifics.
She won't commit to anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I left there like on such a high. And I was like, if I don't get this job, I will have had that moment.
Yes.
Like where I was like playing with the big dogs and like able to hold my own. And it felt like so electric.
But ego-wise, how is it to be the creator and runner of your show and then come in and play Kay? Is that hard ego-wise initially, or you don't care?
It's not hard for me ego-wise, I don't think. I think we had just wrapped like season 2 or something, and I did Horrible Bosses 2.
Uh-huh.
I play like the sex therapist that's leading the like sex obsessed group.
Therapy.
And they were setting up the chairs or something, and I was there, and the AD asked somebody a question, and I was like, oh, there should be 9 chairs in here. There's 9 people in this scene. And he looked at me like, what the fuck are you, like, what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I thought, oh, right. This isn't my show. Like it's hard to turn that off.
Yes.
But it had been long enough when I started Bless This Mess.
Uh-huh.
I hadn't been like telling everybody what to do for a while,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So it wasn't super hard.
Yeah.
But like when I directed,
Which you've done twice.
yes, the first one, I was a little nervous about like after the table read and they're all sitting around doing notes. I'm like, most of the directors, I think they leave. And then certainly like, I'm not sure if they're asking those people about the story, right?
The guest directors.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they weren't asking me either, but I just started talking. Like I was like,
yeah.
because we were talking about the Mike storyline and like tracking it and how it's so internal. And I was like, I'd really love to see that physicalized so I can tell that story to the audience, because they're not going to be in his head. And as I was talking, I was like, is this my place? Like,
Right. Am I out of?
am I out of like
My
the
lane.
my director role here?
Yeah.
Afterwards, after I spun out for a little bit, I was like, no, like that's my superpower. I think I did this like
Yeah.
in this role of EP story creator and actor, like, and director. So I think that you would want that. And if they don't want it, they can always say like,
Yeah.
we're good. No, thanks. You know,
For sure. But you like it. You like directing our show.
I love it.
You love it.
I love it. I love our crew. Like
Uh-huh.
they're my family.
Yeah.
And I love all you guys.
Uh-huh.
And everybody's so good and they come prepared.
Well, you and Keckner's stuff is by far my favorite stuff of the
I love
show.
it.
It's always the thing that'll make me laugh out loud is you and Keckner. So are you going to do a bunch next season?
Direct?
Yeah.
If they ask me,
Yeah.
I'll do as many as they let me.
You will.
Yeah. I also like my weeks off when I'm just an actor.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now. Jess and I were thinking about what is the next project we're going to do. And we just come off playing house.
Mhm.
I was so tired.
Yeah.
I mean, when we started season 3, I had a 2-month-old.
Hey. Oh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And it was the whole season was about Jess's real struggle with cancer, which we had just gone
right.
through.
In real life.
And when we wrote it, I was 8 months pregnant. So like I was tired.
Now, when you think of your identity markers, the things that you're proud of, is UCB a UCB person right at the top?
Yeah. UCB for life.
UCB for life.
Yeah, I think I was saying this to you the other week. If any of those guys that I was like in a van across country, like doing shows in middle of nowhere, Ohio, were to call me and say, I wrote something for you, I would not read it. I would not look at the contract. I would just be like, where and when?
Yes.
Like we went through it. Like some of those people make me laugh harder than anybody in the whole world. And so when we write too, we're writing those people like Zach Woods. I write for him. Like he was on my very first improv team. I feel like he is my brother.
Yeah.
He's so fucking funny.
He's a genius at improv.
He's
I've
a
never
genius at
seen-
everything.
Oh,
He was going to be a jazz trumpetist.
oh
Really?
my goodness.
Yeah, that was like his thing. And then he found UCB and he was like, oh no, I'll do this instead. And he was 18 when he
Right.
got on Dillinger. Like he had been
Oh,
coming after
wow.
high school to take UCB classes, getting on the transit from Trenton, New Jersey or
Subway?
wherever. He was, yeah.
Ronan, he's a real wonderkind.
A wonderkind.
He is.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Vaughn and Farrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like writing for those people and for playing house, it was just like Riggle, McBrayer, just all of them.
Manzukis,
Yeah.
who you share drumming with.
Yes. We did a whole scene where we like had a conversation in snare drum. So like
And were you falling in love in the
Amazing.
scene?
It's
he was
amazing.
like my high school crush,
Uh-huh.
which is also based on a real person in my high school that was on the drum line that I was like obsessed with. He was his own trench coated man.
Oh wow.
He was a Mormon. And so my dream was because every Friday night their youth group would get together and do like swing dancing. And I was like, oh my God, like if he would ask me to go, I could show him that I know how to swing dance and then I'm the perfect girl for him. That never happened. He went on to do whatever, I guess, get a family.
As you said, you went to Christian youth and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And then you went to New York and did UCB. Any mismatch of kind of hard partying, loosey-goosey lifestyle? Did you ever feel like, oh, I don't know if I can join this club? It's a little too fast? Or you were ready to put it in fourth gear and stand on it as well?
I wasn't like my group was really like we were nerds about improv.
Uh-huh.
And like our parties were like rafting down rivers together. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, it was not. I waited tables like one night that I went out like hard it was just drinking though.
Uh-huh.
And I went out after work with the crew, the bartender, and we went to China Club. Do you remember that?
No.
It was like a club. It was terrible. And we were in the VIP section and I was like, this is
Oh.
amazing. But like, I think it was just like a lot of cranberry vodka or so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was always too terrified that I was going to lose control.
Mm-hmm.
All I wanted was a little bit of lubricant to get this body moving on the dance floor.
Sure.
I was always worried I was going to do something that I would regret. But we did that night. We went out. We closed it. There was 4 of us, 4 women, and our manager.
This sounds like an ideal.
Sting song. And so we went to the China Club and then we went back to our bar. He opened up and then we just drank there.
Oh, fun.
Ended up doing body shots off of each other.
Oh my,
Oh my
goodness, body
goodness.
shots.
I don't think I did the body shot, but there were body shots happening in front of me because I was in a committed relationship with my now husband. And so I got in a cab, but don't really remember it.
Sure.
When I got home, the sun was coming up and I was like stumbling up the stairs zigzag style, like rolling into the wall and the staircase, and then opened the door and he was up getting ready for work.
Ooh.
It did not go well.
I was
can't
gonna
imagine.
Did not go well.
Because I gotta get up to Javier for just having the confidence
Yeah.
to date you and marry you. Because you're, I'm being serious. There couldn't be anything more threatening than someone engulfed in comedy world.
Why?
Because how are you going to compete with that? Like, it's such an insular, inside jokes, doing bits, making each other
Yeah.
laugh.
He's
and
not.
He doesn't care about
He's
that.
not of that.
I know, but that takes a lot of confidence. because-
Anytime we hang out, it's hard. It's like it's like we keep that separate, kind of.
Uh-huh.
Like we don't all hang out together. It's
right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, to spare him that.
Yeah. Partially. Yeah. And me and also everybody. I mean, we do go out now in groups
Yeah.
more so, but like at that point, it would have been annoying.
I think of
Yeah.
poor
Right?
Brie, my girlfriend.
Yeah.
4 fucking improvers in the kitchen post show talking about every line they
it's rough,
said.
yeah.
Oh, what could be more nauseating? God bless her.
Yeah.
God bless Javier. But I
Yeah,
just think,
for real.
yeah, I just
For
think if the person I loved was in love with some other thing that I had no inroad into,
Yeah.
that takes confidence.
But he is also quite funny.
He is.
Yes.
Okay.
He's not just like a serious, kind, foxy educator. He is also super weird and funny.
Uh-huh.
And I think I help him unlock that. And so do our kids.
Yeah.
And a lot of times his family and friends will see that and be like, who is this guy? And I'm like, this is who he always was.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's funny because my kids say he's the funny one.
Oh, they do.
And I'm like, okay, who's getting paid to do funny? Like,
yeah. Well, Lennon, I love you. I think you've been the most
I love
exciting
you
new
too.
person I've met in like 3 years. Yeah, yes.
Wow.
Getting to know you on that show, I love it.
I know.
We have
I was
so much.
nervous when I first. You're.
I don't believe
You were
this.
intimidated?
I don't believe this.
Yeah.
I would have never been friends with you in high school. Like, you know, like you're.
Well, hold on though. We probably would have been.
Uh-uh.
I'll tell you why.
No way.
I'll tell you why. If you were weird, I was Captain Weird. So if we were in a science class together,
This is what would
I
have
had a lot
happened.
of friends that were in the marching band world. I didn't go out on
Yeah.
Saturday nights with them, but I
Yeah.
had a lot of friends in class. Because if you were weird and funny, then I was with you.
This is what happened
Okay.
in the 9th grade. There was a you
Okay.
at my lab table,
Okay.
and he came over to study.
Just
Did I tell
you
this story?
two only?
That's correct.
Okay.
He's very handsome.
Oh, wow.
And we were giggling and like sort of studying or whatever. And I think like something was about to happen, and we sort of like toppled over onto the love seat. And then I
my
was just
goodness.
like, oh my God. You know, like just like immediately made it so weird. And like, what was that? What are we just doing here? Like, just immediately like so unsexy and like, and then never, like, it was just not.
Yeah. Oops.
Not ever
That's
happening.
okay.
Like, I
He's
wouldn't-
watching Bless This Mess, and he's also upset.
Yeah.
He's
Well, you know,
one of the many.
I have this affinity for you because you remind me so much of my 2 girl cousins, Mandy and Kelly, who are sisters,
yeah.
who I spent every summer with.
Yeah.
And they were fucking weird as hell, like I was, and we were all weird as hell.
Yeah,
and then I think when I
everyone's
met you, I was like, oh my God, she's one of the McGoldrick sisters. She's like
Oh my
very genuinely funny and weird and
That makes me happy.
voice. So you and I we have quite a good time on that set, don't we?
We
I
do.
do. I have a great time with you.
Yeah.
And I really had fun when Jessica visited.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
this dynamic here.
Yeah.
Like we had this, that fucking
Dinner table scene.
kitchen dinner table scene
Yeah.
that just went on and on and on.
Yeah.
Some of the takes were 20 minutes long.
Oh
and
my
it was,
God.
I felt like I was back at the Groundlings. I
We
was
were like in a play together, but
Yes.
laughing so.
So fun.
It was electric. It was.
it was so fun. And it really
Yeah.
did bring me back to like, oh, the joy of being funny together with people
Yeah.
without any of the other thoughts.
Yeah.
Is wonderful.
Yeah. That's a good feeling.
Well, I love you. And
love you too,
I'm very excited. I'm on a show with you. And it looks most certain that we will come back and do more together.
Yeah.
And you'll direct a bunch.
Yeah.
And it'll be great.
Okay.
All right. I love you.
Love you guys.
And now my favorite part of the show, the fact check with my soulmate, Monica Padman. Okay, I'm recording, and you can hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh my God, this is so exciting. Our first intergalactic fact check.
Wow. It's really 2020 that we're able
It
to do
is.
this.
And this is going to be virtually how we do everything going forward.
For the next couple months, probably.
The next couple of years, yeah. Do you think we'll all just be in pods? I will say that the response is bigger than I was expecting. I didn't think this country would like cancel the March Madness.
I know.
That seems big.
People are taking it seriously, which seems good. I saw a graph today that was sort of showing that we are at like the exact inflection point for whether we can sort of flatten out this coronavirus or it's going to spike. So now is the time to be acting.
Well, we're doing what our part, Aaron and I. We've gone to a public AA meeting, and then we went to a public gym, and then we went to
Dax.
Salt Lake
Can you please be more careful?
Listen. First of all, shut up. Secondly, we are spraying our hands every 5 seconds. It's preposterous. We're laughing so hard. We're washing our hands everywhere. We're not touching anything, and we're spraying our hands.
You're not touching anything at the public gym?
Well, we're touching all the equipment, but
Right,
then
right.
we're scrubbing our hands with Purell before we touch our mouths and eyes and noses
All right.
and anuses. Do you think you can get it anally?
Are you guys doing some anal play or?
We're doing a little anal work for our sobriety.
Can I tell you something? Because this is just
Yeah.
reminding me. Well, first of all, I don't know if we were clear, and we can be now. We're doing a remote fact check. I am in the attic, and Dax is in Austin.
My favorite city
Your
in the
favorite
world.
city, and we're trying this out. This is the first time we've ever done it, and I miss seeing you across from me. But
Me too. But this is also very fun.
I agree.
Yeah. I feel like we're in the future.
But when you were just talking about anal play, it reminded me of something that I wanted to talk about. So I did something bad today,
Uh-oh.
not involving anal play.
Oh,
I know.
I got so excited.
I went on to our podcast page, not on our website, on the Apple podcast page, because I was
Okay.
trying to screenshot something to post. And when I did that, I saw there were comments.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
It was
No, don't.
It was a bad
No,
idea.
don't ever look at comments that aren't on Instagram.
But
It's the only safe place.
which big shout out to Adam from last week for that, because I guess I didn't realize that because I'm not on Twitter. So I only see Instagram comments.
Oh, that's very misleading. Most comments are cancer.
Which is what I received. Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
There
were
were-
you specifically on Monica and Just Love
no,
Boys?
no. It
Oh,
was
just general
it was
armchair
for
grievances?
all armchair. Yeah.
Did you sort by like?
No,
Negative?
I didn't need to sort. There were so many mean comments, very specifically about me.
What?
I mean, a lot. A lot.
What?
Yeah.
Well, people hate smart, independent, outspoken women. That's just global misogyny.
Well, thank you for saying that. I mean, we are, Kristen and I and Jess are watching the Hillary doc, and whether you agree with her politics or not, that is a really fascinating documentary to watch, to just see the level of patriarchy and misogyny that she's been up against her whole life.
Yeah.
It's so good and heartbreaking and fantastic. I would recommend it. But
Well, I love the woman that brought her out on stage at one point, and she basically just broke it down, which is if you speak up, you're bitchy and opinionated. If you don't speak enough, you're a pushover. Like, she just goes through every single thing you could be, and there's no real right way for women to do it.
yeah, so I was trying to screenshot, and I saw, so the first comment was something about our fact check from men's bodies, and it was saying like, it was criticizing me for one, like shaming doctors, and two,
Wait. When did you shame doctors?
because I was talking about my experience with my doctor, which was poor, and I'm allowed
Okay.
to say that.
Sure.
Anyway,
By the way, here's my frustration with some negative comments, if I can just air my grievance, which is, guess what? I pointed that out. So, like people were mad in that episode that I was saying the pressures on men are real. Now, people interpret that as me saying they are worse, which I never said.
No, you
I don't
didn't.
think they're even nearly as bad as they are on women. But I was trying to make the point that I think women drive women's insecurities and men drive men's insecurities. And you cannot agree with that. But luckily, you disagreed with me. So did Rob. So did Kumail.
Right.
So it's not like that voice it has been stifled on our podcast. So when people go on Instagram to make the same argument that someone already made in the room, I think, did you not hear that side of it?
yeah, that's the whole point of this, is us having a discussion and a dialogue and tossing ideas out into the world. And, they're not going to be perfect every time. That's life.
A couple people came to our defense, or I guess my defense, not your defense. And I appreciated what someone said, like, we keep asking men to be more vulnerable and be more outspoken about their fears and insecurities. And then the second it happens, it becomes some kind of gender war.
Right. I know.
Which,
It again feels like a lose-lose. Mm-hmm. So I guess we just have to not pay attention and just keep moving forward in the way that we know and is right.
Also, 99% of the comments, at least on Instagram, are positive.
Yeah. But yeah, so he said I was shaming doctors and that there was like poop talk or something from me. And I was like, wait a minute. The level of misogyny in that one sentence is like, I am getting shamed for poop talk when, I mean, this is why I love you, but that's 90% of what you talk about.
Well, it's objectively a fact. It's my main topic of thought. Well, sex and poop.
Oh, sure. So, yeah. And the
boners,
I'm getting called
Menorah,
out for that.
Majora, doo-doo.
Yeah, all of your faves.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the fact that I'm getting called out for that felt so absurd to me. And
Yeah.
I read that was the top comment. And I was like, oh, man, that is rough. And then I kept going. And then that was so bad. Because so many people they don't like the sound of my voice. They hate my laugh. Many people.
Oh, wow. I love your laugh.
Thank you. Some people think like they're like standing up for you. Like I'm always arguing with you. Yes, that's the point.
Well, I like those people. Okay, let's skip them.
No.
Okay, so those were the good comments. And then we'll get back to the bad ones.
Anyway, it just really hurt my feelings.
I know it's hard to acknowledge this, but you haven't gone through the experience of being famous, and you're going through it. And it is a learning curve. And you can't practice for it, and you can't be above it. People say mean things about you, and it hurts your feelings. And to think, like I could tell you right now logically, does anyone in your real life who knows you think that about you? No, not one person. I'm friends with all your friends. That's not a real opinion that exists with people who know you. But I can easily see that. But I think it does take time to get there. I don't think any human could just jump to the point where you're unaffected by that.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, another way to look at it is they're writing about you and you're not writing about them. So that's everything.
I mean, I hate even
I like it. I think it's vulnerable to admit you're human and that stuff bothers you. And even that you read it. I think a lot of people lie about it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I couldn't stop.
Oh, yeah. Once you get that tasty anger.
Oh, my God. It's such a specific feeling of sinking and just continuing to sink and sink and sink. It's so true. And I know everyone who's come in here and has said it. And exactly what you're just saying is you don't know it until you feel it. But there, of course, were beautiful comments and wonderful comments also specifically about me. And
those can't compete.
they just don't. And like people coming to my defense, which is so lovely and wonderful. But yeah, I can read that with this like filter up of just like, okay, they're saying this. But as soon as somebody says something negative, it just feels like, oh, I don't.
Well, no, I can give the perfect example is that gorgeous 6'5" army guy who came to 2 shows to express his love for you. You are unable to accept that could be real, that person's in love with you. Yet you can accept that someone hates you. Yeah. And it's just, I think, a human.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the one is funny is, this was like 7-8 years ago on Twitter. Someone wrote, this dude is just sucking off of Kristen Bell. And she supports him. And in my mind, I was like, okay, well, that's objectively not true. I make plenty of money and we split everything. But then like 4 hours later, I was driving down the 101 and I found myself mounting my argument to that guy again. And I'm like, this is objectively not true. And yet I really feel like I need to defend it now 4 hours later.
It really eats at you. And does it get easier or?
Yeah. It really does. Well, first and foremost, I do think you get really better at, like, I would never look at comments on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't look at comments on Twitter. I don't have Facebook, but I would know better. Instagram's the only place I'll read feedback.
Yeah.
And by the way, some of the feedback is critical, but it's not mean, and I can accept it. But like, you hate my laugh. Well, okay, let me change my laugh for you.
Yeah, I don't want to change myself, but I mean, of course, I then am editing 5 minutes after that, and I'm like
wanting to cut
adjust.
your own laugh. Don't you dare, because I guarantee 99.9% of the people love your laugh. And that's the problem. You start reacting to people that don't represent anything close to consensus.
Yeah.
Also, you have to remember, you eat a good meal, you don't call the manager over to tell them, ever.
Right.
You eat a bad meal that was cold and you call them over. It's just, you're not even hearing from the masses of people who enjoy you because they don't feel compelled. But if you've angered them, then there's a lot of motivation to be vocal. And a lot of people are going to hate us.
Anyway, well, that was that.
Okay, great. Good piece of housekeeping.
That's some housekeeping.
We should probably recommend Sam Harris's episode on coronavirus. It was really, really good.
It was so good. Newest episode, I think, or maybe two ago, with Nicholas Christakis about coronavirus. It's really interesting and insightful, and they break down sort of point by point.
Yeah, a lot of the points they were refuting were my points.
But they're not just your points. They're obviously a lot of people's points, or they wouldn't even be talking about it, you know?
And what I thought was generous of them is that at no point were they like, no, that's wrong and stupid. It's just like, no, that is correct, but we do have more control over the rate at which it happens than you might think. So yes, everyone's probably going to get it, but if we can control the speed.
Well. He did say very specifically, don't say, well, everyone's going to get it, because not everyone's going to get it. So if you go into the world being like, we're all going to get it, I'm going to get it eventually, I might as well get it now, like, that's a very silly thing to think. So he did say that specifically, I have to point out.
Yeah.
Even though I just confirmed that person was right, that all I do is argue with you.
Good. Give me a big laugh now.
No.
What if you laugh like a witch?
I mean,
I guess
maybe
I would have had
do.
to tell
I don't
you.
know.
I probably would have had to tell you, like, hey, buddy, you're so good at everything. Your laugh, well, let me ask you this. Do you know what a witch's laugh sounds like?
Oh, my God. Yeah, well, somebody said that the laugh was so fake, which I was like, if it was fake, then I would have picked, like, I guess a better sounding one. If I was deciding what the laugh was, which I don't even understand what that means, but
I think I would be interested again, because it wasn't me that was attacked in this certain situation. I immediately go to, what would be going on with somebody that would trigger them? And I'm genuinely curious. I think it's a fun, like, riddle. Like, okay, what kind of insecurity would you have where let's just say you have a fake laugh.
right.
Why would a fake laugh bother you? Is it that you think people are fake laughing at you? Do you think you're not as funny as you want to be? Do you feel like you're not good at being encouraging to people in conversations and you just wish you could have the social lubricant of a gentle, gracious laugh? Like, what would be going on that would be a big... Because in the gym today, oh my God, let me just unpack a little bit. This gal I was listening to at the gym, she was with her boyfriend and they were taking turns filming each other exercise. And I was like, oh, I wonder if they have like an Instagram workout account or whatever. And then she just went on this tirade about, oh, you know what I hate? These fucking people who are at the gym and they're lifting way too much weight and their posture is terrible, their form is horrendous. And it's like, just do it right or don't do it. And these other guys, they're at the gym for 3 hours and they're doing a set like every 20 minutes. And in my head, I'm like, how could all of this anger you? Like, who gives a flying fuck about how other people work out? And I was like, oh, she must work out with low weight so that her form is perfect. And she's so pissed that it looks like other people are stronger, but they're not stronger because their form sucks. I'm like, is that it? What is going on with this person? Because you can't be that mad that other people you don't know are doing something that has no impact on you or society.
I do. I mean, I just think it's part of this general human fault that we all have, which is that we feel like negativity breeds community or something, which it doesn't.
Yeah.
But in some cases, Sally, I guess that's part of it when I saw on the comments. I think that's part of what irks me about it is like, ugh, these people in some ways are winning. But I also have to remind myself they're also not winning in life if that is how they operate. Like I can't,
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to trade with them. So I have to remember that.
Yeah. Well, let me now own something too, because this could be another explanation for her. So I realized that I would do this at work, right? I would say like, oh, are they here yet? Talking about another actor, basically pointing out that they're late all the time.
Right.
And then I thought, well, why did I do that? And I was like, oh, I did it to point out that I'm on time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to really get down to it. So I think maybe that gal was in a way pointing out that she has perfect form and that she goes straight from exercise to exercise with no rest. Like it was just a reverse way to brag, maybe.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to feel like an expert in some way, like that they
yeah.
have the keys, they have control. It's just maybe a way to get that.
Yes. Now let me counteract. And again, should have been the first thing I said. So before the gym, we were at an AA meeting, and a gal came up to me and said, "Oh my God, I'm at this meeting because of your podcast. 6 months ago, from listening to the podcast, I decided to come to AA." And I was so happy.
Yeah, that's incredible. Like that is the whole point of this. So the other stuff should be able to just get washed
Should roll off our
away.
back like little ducks swimming in poop. Who are we fact checking today?
Lennon.
Oh, Lennon Parham.
We love
What
her.
a catch. What a catch.
She is. Because in her episode, she talks about many guys who she encountered in her young life who she felt rejected by. And I was like, God, those guys just missed out on this beautiful, wonderful soul.
Well, they did, but what I heard is a little bit what I hear in your story, which is I don't know that these guys didn't want to plow her.
Well, she said she asked 3 people to prom and they all said
Well,
no.
yeah, that's rough. But
So-
remember, she also had the story about having the guy over to study.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yeah, and I think she just, it was her lack of confidence. I'm sure that guy would have loved to have pounded her.
Yeah. We're all kind of self-sabotaging a little bit. But it all makes us who we are, all of it.
Yeah, you would probably suck at this job if you had been banging a ton.
I'd probably have a much better laugh, though. So
You would never talk about poop.
never. Okay. Oh, we were talking about Matthew McConaughey, his balls.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about how many kids he has, and I said I think 3, and he does have 3.
Oh, great.
So Lennon loved the show Puttin' on the Hits, which was an American syndicated music variety competition show hosted and written by Alan Fawcett. The show featured amateur acts lip-syncing to popular songs. The show aired on weekends from 1984 to 1988. I watched a couple clips on YouTube. It's worth doing a little Google on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's pretty
Doesn't that
interesting.
seem like something no one should be competing? Like, doesn't it seem like everybody can lip sync? That's my knee-jerk reaction.
Well, I wouldn't be so arrogant.
It'd be like having a contest of people dribbling a basketball standing still. Like, okay,
Okay, but
well,
some people
Can't
would
everyone
be
do that?
much better than others at that.
but if you put them in a box where all they could do is like nothing between the legs, you can't move your legs, it's just dribbling.
I still think there's going to be some variety.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe we should pitch this. The big dribble.
So she said, she really wanted to be on Eastbound and Down, but then she had her baby, so she couldn't. But she said she thought it filmed in Wilmington. But what I saw on the internet was that it was filmed in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Okay.
But maybe it was back and forth. We can't really trust the internet completely.
No.
But that is what it says on the internet.
I went a day or two to spring break in Myrtle Beach.
And did you enjoy it?
No, I don't think I felt cut out for that scene. I did have one perfect spring break, which was in Cancun when I was in 11th grade. I mean, that's one of the best weeks of my life. But some of the other spring break experiences, I just didn't feel jacked enough, and I didn't drink.
Ah.
I did drink in Cancun, but then I didn't drink in 12th grade because I was already exhibiting some issues.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, so, I'm on this new medication and my doctor said it was okay to drink. I think I probably should have been more clear when I asked him. He meant it's not going to interfere with the medication, which it's not. But I also had a conversation with another neurologist. I brought up drinking again, and he said he would advise me to pretty much cut it out completely.
Why? Because of the dehydration or something?
It can be a factor in seizures. One, he said it excites the brain. Two, it interrupts.
And the crotch.
Well, yeah, it excites the whole bod, really. I feel a full body tingle. And he said that it also, which this is for sure, disrupts sleep. And sleep is a huge element of this.
And yours in particular. The fact that you had both seizures while asleep.
Sure, exactly. But apparently that's like a big trigger is the sleeping stuff. So
how drunk were you the night before the seizure in New York?
That's what I was trying to think. I mean, definitely not drunk at all, but we were drinking throughout the day.
There we go.
But not a lot. Like I had a mimosa in the morning.
At breakfast, yeah. Go on. Go on. First thing up. Brush your teeth, hit the mimosa.
First I had a massage, and then I had a mimosa.
What if you were allergic to massage?
I kind of already, of course, had that thought. Like, I wish I could go back in time to the first one. What if I had a massage the day before?
What would you? Well, you'd rather quit massage than drinking, right?
Yeah, both would be really hard. I love massages.
And mimosas.
Oh God, I love mimosas. This is horrible. Anyway, I started off, I had a mimosa, then I had wine at lunch, and then I had wine again midday.
Great.
Well, between lunch and dinner.
Sure.
And then I had a cocktail, but I didn't finish it at dinner.
Well, and wine. A wine and then a cocktail at dinner?
No.
Oh.
Only a cocktail, and I didn't even finish it. So I had
Yeah, that's not a lot. 5 drinks.
4 or 5-ish drinks throughout the whole day.
But were you not drinking water? Were you meeting all of your thirst needs with alcohol?
I mean, if I know myself, I'd say probably. I doubt I was drinking enough water. And we were like moving around the city a bunch, so I was also probably exerting energy. So I probably was dehydrated. That makes sense. Yeah, it was an oopsie. And but he said I could maybe have like 3 ounces of wine and then maybe another glass of 3 ounces of wine, but that's like kind of it. And that is no amount of alcohol.
No, that's
a sip. So I'm kind of trying to grapple with that. A lot of things are feeling pretty out of control, I will say.
Yeah. Now, if it were me, I would just be like, well, I'm just still going to drink. Is that how you're feeling, or you're really considering not drinking?
No, I'm really considering it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the end of the world if I have to cut it out. It's okay. You did.
I'd hate to see you quit.
Well,
Hate to see someone with a great relationship with it not do it.
well, I obviously don't have a great relationship because this news was a little bit earth-shattering.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, that's all for Lennon. Sorry if I was a bit of a downer in this.
No,
fact
I
check.
like it. I like it. I like your honesty. Yeah. The problem is people pretending that everything's perfect, and then other people are hearing that and they're like, I don't feel that way. Am I broken? That would suck.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think being honest has ever backfired really. Long term.
Sure,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
It's a good way to live.
I immediately went to a pull-out joke in my head, but I couldn't frame it in time.
All right, well, on that note,
Oh, man, this was so fun. All right, bye.